everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate your patience as we are excited for today's special episode. As you guys already know, we're all about sharing stories. It is through stories of true first-hand experiences that allow for us to put ourselves in the shoes of others. Stories are really powerful in the way that they affect change in our minds and through our hearts, and we just really hope that you will come here listening with 2 ears and 0 preconceived ideas as we present Speaker last episode of Season 1, an additional segment of Campus Conversations. The last time we had Campus Conversations was back with Tulane University's medical students who are a part of the 15 White Coats. I definitely encourage you to check that out if you have not already. It's episode 7 after this one. Today's Campus Conversations will be with my alma mater, Harding University. We're calling this one the Harding 30 for 30 because we'll be having 30 black students past and present, each briefly share their campus stories here on this episode. We hope this can be an encouraging episode to spark dialogue amongst the Harding community and schools among the world. Like many of us black students out across this nation, who are not at HBCUs, we have no choice but to speak up for ourselves whenever we see there's a need for positive change. Bashing people is not our business, nor is silence towards hurtful behaviors. Neither one is really going to accomplish anything. And for change to happen, we really must come at it with a spirit of love. Love is a change agent, and it can be soft and it can be a little bit tough sometimes. And our love is so strong for the Harding community that we have taken this time to express how it has done great things and also can become greater in the future. It's possible that, this episode may be probably the most unpopular episode out there, and if you need to unsubscribe, that's totally fine. And some people may have canceled me at Harding, and that's totally fine as well. But regardless of everything else, I want to present to you the Harding 30 for 30.
My name is Howard Wright. I am one of the first 2 African Americans to graduate from Harding in 1968. In 1966, during the summer session, I was working at Safeway Eggplant. Got off at 7:30 in the morning, rushed home to take a shower. I was ready to go take my final test in the New Testament church. Laid across the bed, those few minutes turned into several hours. Once I got in touch with my professor, I explained to him what happened. And he said, "Do you want to take the test on tomorrow?" I took the test the next day, and God blessed me to get an A. And I appreciated the way he treated me with all of that mercy. His name was Dr. Allen Isom. There was another occasion when I quit school after my first semester. I walked across the campus, came in touch with a professor. He said, "I hope I don't see you shining shoes somewhere someday." Shining shoes somewhere someday. All the way home on the bus from Little Rock to Philadelphia. Shining shoes somewhere someday. The whole time I was out of school, that whole semester, all I thought about was shining shoes somewhere someday, until I told my wife we're going back to Harding and I'll stay there till I finish. I think that the administration will do a great job on making sure that the Black Student Association is loved, cared for in a very plain and simple way to make sure that they are a great part of what's going on around the campus.
Good evening. I'm Elijah Anthony, one of the first 2 students of color to graduate from Harding in the class of '68. The bad experience I had was being discouraged by some students and faculty members, one of whom said to us, "It won't matter if you finish. You'll probably end up shining shoes anyway." That stayed with me and fueled my resolve to graduate. The good experience I had was the privilege of speaking in chapel, along with developing some strong, lifelong relationships. I value my time there.
Hi, my name is Abby Stone, and I am a 2000 and 2001 graduate at Harding University. As an African American student, one of my good memories is that I had the opportunity to do lots of different things at Harding to showcase my race, my culture, my ethnicity, like being in a Raisin in the Sun, getting an opportunity to dance in chapel, African dance, and going around to different classes and being able to talk about how it felt and things that I experienced as being an African American student. I was very proud of those opportunities that I got a chance to do, but it was a part of me being proactive, and with the other students that did it along with me, we were proactive about it. Some of my more challenging memories were when certain people came up and would ask questions like, how did you hear about Harding? And they had certain stereotypes that they would ask you about and think that you fit in a certain box. That was times when you really didn't feel like you were a part whenever you were asked questions like that. So I think that what I would say as far as Harding, I love the opportunities that I've had there, and I think probably if the Harding community could just be proactive and just kind of think ahead of how they can allow Harding University African American students to feel a part and feel supported by giving them opportunities to do things where they can showcase their culture, get a chance to where people could get a chance to know them better and have those courageous conversations. I think all those things would really, really help to benefit the African American culture at Harding and help them feel supported.
Hello, I'm Brianna Cunningham, class of 98 and 2000. I graduated in 98 with a psychology degree and in 2000 with a degree in marriage and family therapy. I can say that I've truly enjoyed my time as a student at Harding. I came in as a Stevens Scholar, and because of that, I had a built-in sense of community and built-in mentors like Harold Alexander, who were there for me to support me in getting my education. There was one drawback that I could think of immediately, and that was the sense of being invisible. And so, not to my built-in community, but to Harding at large, even as far as having to move off the sidewalk to let other groups of students pass because they pretended that they did not see me walking on the side of the sidewalk. And so, if I were to make a suggestion to make Harding better, it is to make sure that whoever the students are on campus, that they are seen and that they feel heard. And part of that can happen through coordinating through the SA with the other associations on campus to make sure that all students feel heard, that they feel represented in the activities that happen on campus, and that they feel like they matter at Harding.
Hi, my name is Camille Howard. I graduated from Harding in 2011 with a General Studies bachelor's degree. One thing I would like to see changed is a student body of people of color. There was not a lot of Black students, a lot of people of color who were not either exchange students or athletes. So I would love to see Harding purposefully recruit students of color.
My name is Cordell Winder. I graduated out of Harding in 2016. One thing I will always be grateful for Harding is the fact when I graduated, I knew everything I needed to know about my field, and I had many different job opportunities. And in my past down opportunities, I had other opportunities. So because of Harding, I had multiple opportunities, and I was able to do things and go places I never thought I'd be able to go. However, when I was at Harding, there was a chance I almost didn't make it, and it was because I felt like there was people who couldn't relate to me because I was Black, and there's not a lot of Black people there. And so those times I almost dropped out, and it was because of a Black lady that I actually, I talked to. She helped me through it. She was a teacher. She helped me through it. I felt like a lot of Black people who came in with me dropped out and transferred out because they felt like there wasn't a lot of Black people there who could relate to them or cared about them. I feel like if you got more Black people at Harding from their background and put them in roles where they can help educate and mentor other Black people, we would have a lot higher and more Black people graduating out of Harding. I think it's something Harding should really look into. Thank you.
My name is Dalen Moore, and I graduated from Harding in 2019 with a degree in Bible and psychology. And currently I'm entering my 4th semester at Harding in the clinical mental health counseling program in the graduate program. And Harding has allowed space for me to explore, question, doubt, learn, and ultimately be transformed into a more holistically healthy and culturally competent disciple of Christ, it is because of Harding that I have a greater love, respect, and devotion to pursue unity among all Christians. And it is within the confines of my growth towards unity that makes me more mindful of those who seem to be overlooked in conversations and practices regarding unity, namely ethnic and racial minorities occupying spaces where majority cultures lead, create stories, policies, and who author the organizational narrative. And it is within those confines that Harding has showed great care and concern for marginalized groups around the world, and rightly so. Yet it seems that same level of insight and intensity seems to be lacking for the underrepresented and often overlooked communities within Harding's own backyard, on Harding's own campus. In an age of social unrest, confusion, and unhealthy polarization, Harding has a great opportunity to do more and be more for its own marginalized community groups, namely its Black and brown students. There's an opportunity to listen more fully, practice empathy more often, and to let that posture inform policy, practices, and organizational narrative shaping. One thing that I would love for Harding to do is a campus-wide book read or virtual book clubs that would be about people pursuing in the present day justice, fighting for justice and equality for all marginalized people groups as rooted in the mission of Jesus. And I think that it is crucial, it's vital that this campus-wide read, or that these book clubs would be formed within and across departments and administrators and board members to read and to discuss honestly with one another. And I completely endorse 3 books. The first book is this, Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson, who's an African-American lawyer and advocate for the underrepresented communities who are in the criminal justice system, and who is guided by the Christian principle that we are all more than our worst mistake. The second book I recommend is a book called Beyond Colorblind, Redeeming Our Ethnic Stories by Sarah Shin, who is an Asian American woman who talks about how embracing our ethnic stories actually helps us to see how each culture best reflects the image of God, and how if we let Him, God can actually heal the parts of our cultures that have been wounded. And the third book that I recommend is a book entitled I Will Not Fear by Melba Bills, who she is one of the Little Rock Nine, one of the first African Americans to integrate Little Rock Central in Little Rock, who tells about her experience and how integrating this faith life and her family life actually fueled her to go into integrate during that time. And so I believe that discussions with these books across administrators, students, faculty, alum, board members can actually facilitate a space for us to have humble, healthy, and healing conversations in Harding. I believe that this institutionally and individually can actually change our lives for the better.
Hi, you guys. My name is Deanna Wallace, and I'm a 2015 graduate of Harding University. As it concerns racial relations at the university, I think one thing that Harding could have done better was really embrace the differences of all the people that they accepted at their school. There was a lot of diversity at our school. We had lots of Europeans, we had lots of the Walton Scholars who were Latin American, we had lots of Chinese students, we had a large population of African American students. But one thing amongst the people of color at Harding is that they always felt like outsiders. And that was really apparent to us as people of color and their experiences, but it was also really ostracizing to be in a place where everything was preached as if, okay, we're living like Jesus, we're Christians, but the way the student body and professors played it out didn't make you feel included. So that was like a very confusing time to be in. And I'm speaking for myself as well as other people who came to Harding who were maybe recruited to be there who actually didn't grow up in Christian homes. So I think that there's a lot of work to be done in that aspect, that Harding really needs to even like grasp that concept that like, oh, because this is a primarily white institution or majority white institution, there will be people here who will feel like outsiders. And it's our job to not make them feel that way, to make them feel welcome, to make them feel accepted, to make them know that their differences are special and important and should be spoken on. And that's one thing that I think Harding could do a better job with, to improve their visibility in the community, as well as improve just the perspective that people of color will have of attending a majority white institution that's Christian. With all that being said, Harding was a place where I did build lifelong friendships, and even to this day, people that I've met there that were friends and not friends, and their families have helped me, whether it was like I needed a place to stay for a night or needed a connection for a job. Harding did provide me with those lifelong connections, and I'll be forever grateful for that.
Derek Jones. I'm from Anaheim, California. I'm currently attending Harding University, and I am in the graduating class of 2021, Lord willing. Lord willing. My Harding experience has, for the most part, I feel like been a really good one. Coming from California, being so far away from home from really the first time, I felt like Harding was very open and welcoming, and really allowed me to like be myself and really welcome me in with open arms. The people I've met, the organizations and people I've surrounded myself with on campus has made me feel loved and wanted and allowed me to be me. I feel like for the most part, as far as like just being who I am and being around the people who they are, there have been, I feel like, a couple instances where someone might have said a certain thing or acted a certain way that made me feel some type of way, but nothing too crazy. As far as like being a black man and at Harding, I feel like I've never been judged or looked down on or treated differently for the color of my skin. As far as something I feel like I would change, I really feel like I just want to be more represented. I feel like as far as like faculty wise, like I know there's a lot of professors who've been there for a really long time and they've known for a while, but it's kind of, I don't know, weird. Just everywhere you go, one teacher I'm listening to is usually white, usually male. So I just feel like more representation around the staff at Harding, as far as like black African American people being staff. I feel like that'd be a lot better.
Hello everyone, my name is Dion Gibbs, and I am a Harding University student alumni from the class of 2013. Speaking of Harding, one of the best things I liked about Harding was it gave me like a lasting impression of friendships. Some of my best friends I graduated till this day. Obviously, the biggest challenge of Harding is there wasn't a whole lot of faces like me. That made it an uphill battle because I didn't have a precedent or a place to look toward when I wanted to grow as a person, specifically speaking as an African American. One of the best ways for it to get better is to reach out to the other African American students, maybe African American alumni, and even offer more African American professors, and absolutely offer more African American like history lessons. Thank you.
My name is Dominique. I'm an alumni from the classes of 2016 and 2019. In the 7 years that I was a Harding student, I think the main thing that I was grateful for was the opportunity to build connections and make lifelong friends with people from all over the US and different continents in the world. The thing with friendships is that they usually are built on shared values and shared belief systems, common interests, and shared life experiences. And unfortunately, some of the shared life experiences that my friends and I had were those of very racially charged and often very hurtful instances that we were put in kind of against our will. And when I say that, what I mean is oftentimes faculty members and staff members would say very negative and often very racist things to us or about Black people in our presence, and we either did not feel empowered enough to correct them, or when we did correct them, our concerns were often brushed off or just simply chalked up to, oh, they didn't really mean it like that, you know. And so for current and future students, I really do hope that one thing that they're able to see is a space opening up, that they are comfortable to just be regular, be themselves, however that is to express themselves, and that for faculty members, staff, and administration, pretty much the foundation of the machine driving Harding, that they would really take the time to hear and listen to what students are saying to them, not just brush off their concerns, get professional sensitivity training because it's desperately needed. And for Harding as an institution to firmly stand on a side, especially in the midst of our current climate, and understand that this is not a matter of politics. It really is a matter of seeing everyone with the same eyes as Jesus and treating people equally and really taking their concerns with great care.
Hi, my name is Eric Wilson, and I am Harding alumni from class of 2014, and I'm here just to share a few of my experiences while at my time at Harding. And some of my best experiences at Harding were definitely aligned with the people I've met. One being my wife, two being a lot of my friends that stuck with me for a lifetime, whether it was through cross country, track, or even the social club, Beta Omega Chi. Some of my friends have been just concrete in my spiritual walk and helped me grow at my time in Harding. And that's probably one of the best experiences at Harding, was just people I met, the teachers to help educate me, not only further my education, but also with like a spiritual aspect. And then some of my not so, I would say, favorable times at Harding would be just moments where I would just feel alone, and because I feel like no one really understood where I came from, no one understood kind of like my background, but also my financial struggles when it came to money and struggles in that way as well. So some of the things I feel like Harding could grow in would be just showing a little more representation among other minorities, not only just Black or African American, but also in like the Latinx community, Asian and Hispanic, other communities that need to be represented not only at Harding, but also in alumni that have gone on and been successful.
Hey, my name is Greg Hall. I was class of 2017. Some positive experiences I had at my time at Harding were in the club process, both in box and Chi Omega Pi. I made a lot of really good friends, had a lot of fun, and felt like that was welcomed into both clubs. Some negative experience I had at Harding was just really the lack of diversity and on staff as far as the Bible department goes. I felt like I couldn't really find a professor that I really clicked or could see myself in. That just really impacted me as far as thinking about what's next after college as far as jobs and career goes. And one thing I hope that Harding can take with them going forward is just more diversity in staff, and not just administration, but like in professors that are out there, and just being more open to this conversation.
Hello, my name is Isaac Davis, and I'm a senior at Harding University. Now, I love Harding. I can think of two things about Harding that have changed my life, besides the many relationships that I've gained. One is the many prayer vigils that we've held together and mourning losses of students. Being able to just pray and mourn with other students who have lost people close to them. And just for me, being able to recognize the sadness that is the death of a brother or sister in Christ has changed the way I view grief and community. And this same thing on a more personal scale, with two professors I can think of. After Botham Jean was murdered in his home, two professors, this is separate instances, both met with me to ask me how I was doing. And they gave me a space to express my grief, to express my anger over the situation. And they also expressed their grief and their anger. And it just expressed my anger over the situation. And they also expressed their grief and their anger. And it just felt so good to not be alone in both my grief and my anger. Now, the growth area I can see for Harding fits in that exact same category. The same thing I love about Harding is the area I can see where it grows. In that Harding has prayer vigils where people can express their grief and share grief together. But Harding does not have many safe places to talk about anger and to express even righteous anger. And Harding itself does not often take bold stances for things that may be considered political. Though when we read scripture, these don't seem to be political things. They seem to be spiritual matters. And I'll end on this. Jesus is often expected to lean one way politically in his time on earth. He's often expected to lean one way or another religiously by different religious groups also. But every time he speaks, he pulls closer to God rather than left or right or some other direction. And when he goes closer to God, he doesn't go left, right, front to back, or diagonal. He goes above it all. And I believe Harding could do better at this, in that some things are not about what people think or their politics. Some things are about spiritual matters. And people would be a lot less frustrated and feel a lot more welcome, and I think grow more spiritually at Harding University if we heard the university make more bold statements that led us closer to God, and we're not concerned with other people's opinions about politics or some other thing. Because our goal is not to be a political party. Our goal is not to move in some direction religiously either. Our goal is to be spiritually more like God each and every day. And Harding has the power to help lead the way to make this happen if it uses its voice.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Collins. I attended Harding University as a transfer student, and I earned my Bachelor's of Music Education in 1997 and my Elementary Administration degree in 1999. And it's kind of hard to think of one particular instance that I loved the most because I had so many great experiences at Harding. Aside from meeting my husband, Kenny, and just walking around that beautiful campus, those things were life-changing for me. I learned and grew so much there. My favorite probably experience that I actually had would have been attending tour on campaign with Dr. Gaines and Chorus when we went to Australia, New Zealand, Hawaii, and Los Angeles. During that time, I learned so much and saw so many different people, so many beautiful places, and just enjoyed fellowshipping with everyone and, of course, singing. I guess you could say a challenge for some people might be that I was actually the only African American student in the music education department. And that meant for me that I went to classes just like everybody else, and I really didn't have too much of a problem. But there was some kind of barrier there that I can't really explain, because no one was mean to me that I can recall. And everybody was really kind, especially my chorus friends. However, there was one experience that I had at the end of an event in which we had sung and we were being fed. One of the members sat next to me, and after I'd picked up a piece of chicken to eat and I deliberately said I wasn't going to eat fried chicken. And she sat next to me and said, you guys really do eat fried chicken. And so there were several occurrences like that throughout my time at Harding, and which I didn't really think too much about them at all because I just didn't think that much about them. But I realized that it made me feel different, and which became a little bit of a barrier, more than I really anticipated it would, and I think has probably had more impact than I thought it did. So as I reflect on those experiences, I would say that that would be the one area that I would like to see Harding University grow in, and that is to have a diversity education program, not just for faculty and staff, but geared specifically towards the students as they come to Harding University on campus and as they learn more about people and about different things that are going on. It's important that they know how to adjust to different people and different personalities. We have managed to love each other so far, and we're almost at the point where we can see each other clearly. Through listening and learning from each other with humility, we may be able to get so much further than we have in the past. I believe that regardless of political affiliation, ethnicity, and cultural background, embracing our differences is actually the first step towards seeing each other fully and learning to love our neighbors as ourselves.
Hey, fellow Harding students and fellow alumni. My name is Lonnie Smith. I graduated in winter '04. I'm just sharing real quick just a couple of things that I really enjoyed about being at Harding was that I was able to really get to connect with fellow Christian students of other cultural backgrounds. Being from where I'm from, I was from a majority African American community and pretty much got educated there my whole elementary and secondary life. But at Harding, I was very, very pleased and very blessed to get to know that there were other students of other cultures who went through some of the rough childhoods the way I did, even though I was expecting for them not to have gone through them. But I'm thankful that I got to connect in that. So I definitely appreciate Harding for being able to maintain those Christian connections, as well as being able to learn of other connects with non-Christians of various cultures outside of my own. Now, one of the things I would encourage and would like to see better at Harding is the continued encouragement of the solidarity of the African American students there. Now, of course, I would like to continue for the other cultures to continue to appreciate the African American cultures there, because there is much culture that us as African Americans can bring to Harding as well. But I definitely would like to see that African American lives and culture does matter at Harding just like everywhere else. And I hopefully that, especially as a Christian sponsored university, that we will be able to continue to promote African American culture there, and we will continue to be able, as fellow African Americans, we will continue to maintain that solidarity. So, and as an alumni, I will be more than happy to assist in any way I can. So with this video, I wouldn't mind about sharing that again, or sharing other videos as needed. But I thank y'all so much, and I pray that y'all continue to stay blessed at Harding. Go Bisons.
Hi, my name is Michaela Twig, and I'm a spring 2019 grad of Harding University. There's a couple things that I would like to see change about Harding. The first being, Black Student Association was my favorite part by far of being at Harding. When I first came to Harding, I felt kind of out of place in I didn't have anyone that I fit in with really, or was comfortable with, or anyone that kind of grew up the same as me or had the same kind of experiences. But once I found the people of BSA, and it was the first year that BSA existed on campus, I really found people that became my closest friends, people that I consider family now. And it became the biggest part of my Harding experience and my favorite part of my Harding experience. And so I think it's really important and beneficial if Harding was to really push that to their new, especially Black students, because if they don't know about it, when they first come on campus, they may feel uncomfortable and like there isn't a place for them, but there is a place for them. And so I think that's really important to really let them know that BSA exists and it's here for them to help them and make them feel like they belong. The second thing would be to really include Black students in chapel, not only during February when it's Black History Month, but on a daily basis. Chapel is probably the biggest part of Harding culture, one of the biggest parts of Harding culture, because it's all of the students, staff, and even alumni that watch online that gather every single day to watch current students worship and lead singing and lead sermons and prayers and things like that. And I really think that Black representation on a daily basis would really show like we support our Black students. They have talents and they have gifts. They're here to serve just like everyone else is, and they're a vital part to our community, not just during February when it's dedicated to Black History Month, but all of the time, because those Black voices are needed all of the time, not just when the calendar tells us that it's time to let Black voices be heard. They should be heard all throughout the year. So I really think that would be beneficial. Both of these things would let it be known that we are part of Harding, we belong, and we are ready to have our space on campus.
Hi there, I'm Mary Joy Wilson from graduating class of 2016. My time at Harding was precious to me and very special to me. It's where I made some of my best friends and my deepest friendships, as well as met some of my most admired teachers who helped me to grow in Christ and to know what God looked like in my life. I also loved some of the more fun things around campus, like social clubs. Box and DGR were very dear to my heart, and I loved the opportunities they provided for connection. And of course, I met my husband at Harding, and I'm so thankful for that. I do believe that Harding still has some areas of growth and a long way to go to get to where we need to be. Some of the things that I hope to see improve at Harding is I hope that Harding increases their minority representation, not just on campus, but in the buildings, in the curriculum. I hope that improves. I also hope that Harding takes the time to teach about its own Black history and where they've come from and how Harding has grown. Don't hide the history, but acknowledge it and learn how to grow from it. I also hope that Harding doesn't just respond to social issues, but I hope that they initiate reconciliation with them in their community, outside of their community, and as we move forward as a Harding family.
Hi, I am Patricia Williams, Harding University, class of 1998. I followed my late sister, Dr. Teresa Terry Williams, to Harding in 1993. I had a lot of great experiences at Harding, so I cannot just pinpoint one. Therefore, I would say that the best thing about Harding University to me was the people that I met while I was there. Many of the close relationships I have today are with the same people I attended Harding with, and I praise God that they have been with me through my highs and through my lows, through my joy and through my grief. We stayed connected. Looking back, it would have been beneficial to many of the African American students if the university would have allocated faculty members to specifically support all of the African Americans on campus. There were support systems in place for the Walton Scholars and those who were granted Stevens scholarships, and even the football players had support systems in place. Those of us who were not there on scholarships had to, in a sense, fend for ourselves. We did have the higher degree singing group, but for those who did not sing, they were still left out. So, in all, I had a great experience at Harding.
My name is Rael Brown. I'm from Mississippi, and I'm a December 2018 grad. I really enjoyed my time at Harding. I got a lot of good experiences. I made really great lifelong friends there. There were some experiences that I got at Harding that I definitely would not have been able to get at another college, and so I'm really grateful for that. Some things that I would like to see, one thing that I would like to see change would be the number of diverse faculty members. It's one thing to be the only black student in your class, but it's another thing to just not see yourself anywhere on campus. And so I would really like to see more teachers from different backgrounds be a part of the Harding community.
All right, my name is Stanley Winters Jr., and I went to Harding University in 2013. I came in as a transfer student. I had transferred from Azusa Pacific University in LA County, and that's a Methodist Wesleyan tradition school. I was studying theology there, but I wanted to study preaching specifically, and I wanted to get that knowledge from a Church of Christ school, and I think it was like Abilene, Harding University. Those were my options, really, and I chose Harding University. They had a preaching program, and thank goodness, because they had great Bible teachers, man. Some of the most knowledgeable Bible teachers in archaeology, church history, Greek and Hebrew, ministry, just so many different, the spiritual disciplines, so many different aspects of preaching and Christianity. It was very knowledgeable. And so that was a very, very good thing for me, good experience for me. As a black student, it was very difficult to sit in those chapels. I think you were required to go about 4 or 5 times a week. The chapels, they did not reflect my culture at all, or basically they didn't reflect God speaking to me and my culture and my history and experiences in any type of way. And most of the black students on campus felt that way, that would talk with me. Me being a preaching major, a lot of the black students would talk to me, ask me for help with Bible homework, talk with me about what was going on campus for them, where they were at in their spiritual walk. And a lot of them, they really struggled with that chapel and the aspect of chapel, how it was. So that's one of the reasons in 2014 we started the Brothers and Sisters Association, was to give the black students on campus a place to identify with themselves, express their love for God in their own way, and also to receive God in their own way on campus. And it's my understanding that the group is still being carried on by those who were in the group at that time. So those were the good and bad of Harding University. I would love to see them just provide a space for the black students there to feel safe, to express God, to worship God, and in doing that, then they'll be able to actually serve the black students a good education in a safe place. That's my experience with Harding University.
Hi, my name is Taylor Flellen. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I graduated class of 2018 December. So some great positive things that I received from Harding, my Harding experience, would definitely be the culture surrounding just worshiping with fellow Christians my age. I just love seeing that on a larger scale. It was just something that I've never experienced before. And another positive experience would be definitely just really focusing in on and figuring out why I believe what I believe. Some of the negative experiences I've had at Harding were just people being incompetent of my culture and just stereotyping me before they even knew me and just assuming things. So I think a great thing would be incorporating more Black history classes and making that a part of the curriculum, and just part of the culture at Harding, just learning and really digging into gaining cultural competency, and therefore and helping that allow you to feel your humility.
Hey everybody, Terrence Talley here from the Harding University class of '88. I had some memorable moments at Harding University that I'll never forget. Enjoyable, even some that were life-changing. I was elected to Who's Who in American colleges and universities. I was also elected to Outstanding Young Man of America. Very, very huge accomplishments for me. I never would have imagined. Another thing that I never would have imagined is that I was selected to be a host for Spring Sing, and I was selected twice to host Spring Sing. That was a big deal. I didn't know Spring Sing was such a big thing until I got on campus, and I looked in some of the yearbooks and I saw how huge it was. I said, "Wow, I want to do that." And so I did it, and it turned out well for me. Folks still talk about it and say they remember those. They remember those moments. Some folks have even said those were that was one of the most exciting moments I saw on the stage. I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Well, thank you. I'm flattered." One of the best moments, or perhaps one of the best moments. I'm sure there were others. Definitely there were others. But at any rate, Spring Sing, being a Regina Bow, that was fun, interesting. Being in a social club, another interesting experience. But on the other side, as it relates to Spring Sing, I received my first racist note in campus mail. N-word, this and that. Someone was angry that I had. It was right after Spring Sing, and my picture appeared in the Bison newspaper, and just an awful note. It sort of startled me. It didn't scare me, but I said, "Wow, Spring Sing, really?" So I took it to the administration, and they said, "Oh, just ignore it, push it up, sweep it under the rug. You're the bad person, angry person." But the thing is, you can't just sweep things like this under the rug. Imagine had we just historically had black people just swept things under the rug. We wouldn't have gotten anything done. We wouldn't have gotten anything done. And my mom always said, "Never be silent on matters that matter." And I spoke up. And nothing was done about it. But in 2020, we have to do more. And there's always something that we can do to improve situations. And there's things that Harding can still do today. And I hope that they're working towards that. And I wish them the best. Take care.
Hi, my name is Leandra Landrum, and I'm a Harding University graduate of 2017 with a bachelor's in international studies and a minor in fashion merchandising. All right, so one thing I would like to see change there on Harding's campus would be to see a more diverse faculty. They may be working there with having more diverse administrative and staff persons, but I will say from my experience and my time at Harding, I did not have any professors that were of a minority race.
Hi, my name is Mika. I graduated from Harding December of 2018. Let me just start by saying I love my time at Harding. I love the people I got to connect with. I love the experiences. I love getting to go overseas and connect with people who have a passion to see it into going on around our world. And so I'm thankful that I was able to have those experiences while at Harding and to grow from people and to grow from the different opportunities I had while I was there. With that being said, I also think one encouragement I would have to Harding is to continue in that a place where it can be safe for Black students, Black and brown students, to be able to share their experiences, to share and not have a fear of being backlash because of different ideas, and that Black voices will be elevated and that Black voices will feel safe. Just being somebody who lives in Searcy right now, I mean, it may not always feel safe for Black students to be, and so I think it's important if the university that has such a huge influence in Searcy can make Black students feel safe and feel heard and feel seen and feel loved in this community. Students feel safe and feel heard and feel seen and feel loved in this community. And so I hope and pray that can continue to grow and to be seen and to be voiced loudly and proudly elevating these beautiful people. And yeah.
Hi, my name is Ashley Hudson, and I'm a 2018 graduate of Harding University. I would say that my experience at Harding was both good and bad. Good because I grew to have lifelong friends through McNair Scholars Program and as well as BSA and BSA Choir. I would say the bad part is just in the beginning of my time at Harding, it was a very slow start for me to find my knit group, and I felt as if I was alone as a Black student at Harding. I felt as if you were a Black student, you had to fit into a certain category at Harding to find a home. So I'm very appreciative of the friends that I did grow to have within my sophomore, junior, and senior year of college, and growing in relationships that way. I could definitely say that they're all my lifelong friends till this day. One thing I would like to see change at Harding would definitely be the propaganda of diversity. I feel as if Harding tries to put an emphasis on diversity through their admissions pamphlets, as well as the pictures that are hanging up throughout campus while you're walking on the sidewalk or within the Benson Auditorium. I feel as if instead of just trying to showcase that you have Black students at Harding, you should actually get to know the Black students that are there, current ones, and as well as alumni, actually getting to know the stories of these Black students, not just having Black students on your photos who are well known as far as social clubs, actually getting to know those outside of social clubs and also outside of athletics, actually spending time with us and seeing how well you can best support us to not just only try to advocate for more Black students to come to Harding, but actually getting to know the students you currently have at the university. So that way that when students come into Harding, they can already know where their home is and not feel alone and not just feel like, oh, okay, you kind of gave me a different story before I came, and now that I'm here, it's something different. Actually show right now through action of the students who are there and grow to have a relationship with them. That way, when other students come in, they already have that form of foundation. So, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Aaliyah and I'm a Harding alumni. My experience at Harding was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I've made lots of wonderful friends. I have lots of wonderful experiences that I will forever cherish. But I would love to see Harding grow more in very different ways. One of them being possibly looking at a cultural diversity training for the staff. Being at a predominantly white school, we're already limited in terms of diversity. So unfortunately, as an international student and a person of color, I've had my fair share of just discomfort at that school. An experience would be once a teacher used racially insensitive language in the class, and not only I was affected and uncomfortable about it, but others were too, and we all discussed it after class. So I think that situation could have been handled a bit differently, and that's just one example of growth that I think can be prioritized, not only for the persons of color, but for people for different cultural backgrounds.
My name is Jariah Brumfield, the class of 2022, and my experience at Harding has been pretty great these last 2 years. I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of different relationships, lots of memories, and things that I will definitely cherish for the rest of my life. There's this quote by a guy named Phil Collins, and he says, in teaching you will learn, and in learning you will teach, or I think it's the other way around, but anyway, basically the lesson there is that each time you decide to open up your mind and receive some information, the more you can impact the next person based off of what you just learned and the knowledge that you already have. And so I think that one thing that I would challenge Harding to do better is equipping professors to be able to handle topics as far as race, microaggressions, racial inequality, all that type of stuff. Of course, in history class, you get the lesson on slave trade and all that type of stuff, but then it's like you just turn the page and it's just gone. I think that math class, science class, English class, they should all have some type of educational lesson when it comes to African American history, because all of our history has made an impact on who we are today, whether you're white, Black, Hispanic, Asian, all that. So I think that incorporating minorities into each of our lesson plans would make for a more open-minded and intelligent environment. I think that opening up to the idea of having racial discussions and all that type of stuff, I think that it can be, I think that it can make an impact on the university for the better. So yes, better equipping professors to handle racial topics, and maybe equipping professors to educate their students on race, African American history, oppression, and all that type of stuff.
My name is Laconia Terrio. I attended Harding from 1972 to 1977. I was the first black student body president. I am deeply appreciative of my time at Harding. I have good memories and bad memories, but mostly good memories. One of the worst bad memories I have is one or two or maybe three white students coming up to me to say, "You're okay for the N-word." And I remember being naive. I remember this is not the way Christianity is supposed to be. And I was right. For years, I kept that against Harding. But then I began remembering all the good things there. I remember David and Leah Burks having me in their home, Jimmy Allen, Jerry Jones, Dan Cooper, and numbers of other students, and some of my dearest friends are from Harding, including Dale and Debbie Pauls, who are the ministers emeritus of the Stamford Church of Christ here in Stamford, Connecticut. I'm deeply thankful for what Harding gave to me. It, in many ways, was the beginning of my foray into really finding out who Jesus is and was. And it is that Jesus that I still try to do my best to understand. Blessings.
Hi, I'm Travell McManus. I graduated from Harding in December of 2017 with a degree in electronic media production. I've been working with Andre to put this video together. And through my time at Harding, I grew in so many ways that I never expected at the age of 18. I was blessed with leadership opportunities like serving for Beta Omega Chi Social Club and being a bow for Delta Gamma Rho. I grew in my faith and I met my wife there. I'm truly blessed by my time at Harding. One thing that I would love to see happen at Harding is them acknowledging that just looking at this video, there's a deep desire for black students to get a strong Christian education and to create an environment where black students don't feel like they have to give up a part of themselves to be a part of the community, where they don't feel like they have to be uncomfortable, feel left out, or feel like they don't matter at times. And some of these can be accomplished in the big things like addressing hatred, racism, social injustice in the community and in the church, but also in the small things like more black representation and more training to professors to better educate black students, even if it's just one in their classroom. A lot of students have experienced being uncomfortable or even having the teacher not taking the time to remember them by name opposed to like the other black student in the classroom. Just those small little things make a huge impact on us. And I always say my time at Harding was a blessing, but it was also unnecessarily different.
Before we close, I'm going to quickly share a little bit about my own experience. And I was just going to say, it was like freshman year was like they had one of these newcomers experiences with families and stuff like that. We were the only black family, which is totally fine. The thing that actually bothered me was more so the staff. One of the staff members I had an interaction with, and he was just like, so son, are you here for football? And I was like, no sir. He's like, listen to all these other sports. I'm like, no sir, I'm actually here for academics only. And he was like taken aback, as confused and bemused, as if me as this black kid had no other contribution potentially outside of athletic ability. And I felt a little disrespected. Well, not little, but I felt disrespected, and as if I couldn't contribute in any other way to the school. And I definitely used that as a motivation to prove people wrong, and for anybody who thought that way. And I was able to get involved in campus, and I had many opportunities that were great in being able to travel abroad and meeting amazing people, having a lot of experiences with different cultures, and I'm so glad I had that experience at Harding. And I know that, you know, there's no school is perfect, but the thing is, like, I know that things can get better. Even though this is a good school, I think things can become even better as time goes along. We have to have these conversations. We have to have dialogue for things to actually get better. So that's my story. Thanks again, guys, for listening to today's episode. We hope that you learned something, were encouraged, but more importantly, we hope that this stirred a genuine desire in you towards honest dialogue, really, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together, making this all of our responsibilities towards reaching positive solutions towards equality. We're also happy that you have been with us throughout this entire journey from the beginning of season 1, and we're looking forward to reconnecting with you guys in season 2. Remember to subscribe and share. Speak Your Life wants to grow, and give you even better content in the future. So we want to give you now the opportunity to support as a sponsor, whether it be through Patreon or anything else. The link will be down below for more information. Also, don't forget that life without your why is meaningless. We love you guys. We'll catch you on the next season. I'm out. Last but not least, we would like to offer you guys a call to action. Below will also be the link to the Harding University African American Student Association Fund. This fund will provide scholarships for students around the country to be able to come to Harding and add to the diversity and get that great education. Thank you again so much.